Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Natasha Martinez, and this is the daily show where we give you all the latest news in the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us today is Kristian Harloff.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Collider Movie News. Very excited to talk about everything happening in the world of movies.
And we got Schnepp joining us today as well.
What's going on, everyone? I'm super excited to talk about movie stuff.
Oh my god, and we have Clarke Wolfe joining us.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm excited too, but not as excited as Schnepp, I guess.
Really excited.
Yes, before we start with this first story here, just to warn everybody, Adam, you want to throw this up there? There you go. So before Natasha reads the first story here, be warned that there's possible spoilers. All right, Natasha.
Okay. Wolverine 3 has recently begun filming in New Orleans, but details have been kept under wraps since its announcement, including who Wolverine will be facing off with in the movie. According to a new report from Nerdist News, however, we might have an answer, and for it, we'll have to issue another spoiler alert. Nerdist News reports that Logan might be facing off against the Reavers, a group of cyborg mercenaries who hate mutantkind. In the comics, the X-Men defeated them in the Australian outback, but the Reavers were later reassembled under the leadership of Donald Pierce, a member of the infamous Hellfire Club and a cyborg himself. Boyd Holbrook was cast as the main villain, described by Variety as the chief of security for a global corporation pursuing Wolverine. We also know that Richard E. Grant is also playing a mad scientist type villain, with Nerdist suggesting he could be playing Pierce, while Holbrook's global corporation could be the Hellfire Club. Until Fox or Marvel confirms otherwise, we'll still have to classify this as a rumor. Kristian, what are your thoughts on the villain for Wolverine 3?
Cool. I don't know enough about it to say, yeah, I hope they bring it true from the comics. I don't know this line as well as maybe Schnepp does. I'm not sure, but I want to see Wolverine have a challenge. These guys sound like it could be a challenge, and it's something to. And I want to not go into spoiler territory, but I think that from what we've seen of Wolverine, it's evolving into that Wolvie Berserker thing that we have wanted for so long, and we keep getting that. I actually like the last Wolverine movie minus the ending, but I'm curious to where this rated R Wolverine's going to go, especially with these type of guys. It almost feels like Terminators almost that he's got to go up against. So sounds exciting to me. How do you feel?
I love it. I love the idea. I mean, we don't know if they're going to have, adamantium. They're all going to be made of adamantium. Are they going to bring back Kelly Hu from XMen 2 because she had the blades? And
they could. That timeline's rebooted.
The timeline's all, as we were talking about earlier, all the timelines are all brand new. Yep. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. It's going to be a Western, so I don't know if it's going to be like some futuristic small town where the Reavers come riding in. We're looking for a guy named Wolverine. Or I don't think it would be that corny, but I'm looking forward to seeing him actually have a good group of enemies to fight. And they keep the rumor is that Sabretooth is coming back too. So I think it's a cool idea to have the Reavers.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love the idea of mad scientists and cyborgs, and especially paired up in I love sci-fi westerns in general, so I love this type of blending of atmospheres and technologies, and like we've said on previous episodes, I feel like it sounds like the team behind this movie is really trying to do something special for Hugh Jackman's last one, and it sounds like what they're doing is a little crazy and kind of balls to the wall, and I love that, so I'm totally on board.
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited to see what they're going to do. And you bring up that Western. I felt like the last one had a bit of that Western feel, and it seems like they're going to continue that.
Yeah, they just can't have a crappy ending like the last one. Like you were saying, The Wolverine was a great film up until he didn't fight the ninjas, and then everything after that.
They just shoehorned it in there at the end.
It was like, what the hell?
We got to make it feel like an X-Men movie, so make this weird thing.
Make sure the girl with the cosplay green outfit and the giant robot are in there.
Yeah, that's really what happened.
Yeah, that feels like that was
that guy came back, Mr. Collider or whatever.
No, Mr.
Collider.
Dr. Collider.
Dr. Collider.
Mr. Collider's his evil cousin.
Right. Yeah. Mr. Collider is part of the
he
evil.
He did not go to evil
group.
medical school.
No, no. All right, Natasha, what's next?
With Fast 8 underway filming, we've already seen some marketing material focused around star Vin Diesel and director F. Gary Gray. What we haven't heard much about is the franchise's standout character, Hobbs, the government agent played by Dwayne The Rock Johnson. After Hobbs wielded a Gatling gun against a military-grade helicopter in Furious 7, talk of a Hobbs spin-off began to stir. In a report from comicbook.com, an update came from Furious 7 consulting producer Hiram Garcia, who spoke to the outlet about the Hobbs spin-off and its chances. He said, "I think there's always been conversations for that. The scheduling of it all is a challenge, but there are always talks about a potential spin-off movie and what we can do with it. DJ and I were just talking about that the other day, our visions for it. There's a real goal for that, and we can have enough fun with that where we've earned that now with the audience. He's a beloved enough character that they'd love to see what a ride with him would be like in his world. We have tons of history that we've crafted for this guy that we would continue to sprinkle in throughout the movies. You'll see a bit more of this in Fast 8 movie, but ultimately we want to take that ride and spin him off and have some fun with it. Though a Hobbs spin-off is just talk as of now, we will be able to see his character when The Rock and the rest of his Fast 8 cast come to theaters on April 14th, 2017. Schnepp, would you like to see a Hobbs spin-off starring The Rock?
Yeah, spin that spin-off. I want to see it. I got a title for you, Hobbs End. It's a little callback to Quartermass. What's up, Sweaties? You know, sci-fi stuff. Hobbs End, look it up, learn about it, Google it. Yeah, I think The Rock, he's in everything. He's in Baywatch, he's in San Andreas. I mean, anything he's been in, luckily, especially the last, I'd say 5 years, has been really entertaining and fun. So I'm looking forward to pretty much anything he does. As long as he's not doing a sequel to that weird fairy, the Tooth Fairy. Whatever.
No, that was during his Disney.
Yeah, that was
Disney
like the
deal,
weird.
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a Freaky Mountain or whatever that was. So yeah, so now he's got it. He's got everything on track. I can't wait to see a Hobbs solo adventure. I think it'd be great.
I think it's smart. I think they've been kind of setting us up for this. And then Universal's obviously taking a big shot on shared universes all the way around. And he's involved in another one with the Ludlum movies that they're doing, those spies too. So he's kind of tied in to Universal anyway. And they're right. This character is beloved. He in the fifth one, to me, this is when it started. This is where the franchise Viagra joke came from, because it started to take a totally different turn once he joined and they got more of that total action over the top feel, and he's been great. Like that fight with him and Vin Diesel in 5 was amazing.
Throwing each other through walls.
Oh, so good. It was like an old school wrestling match. It was amazing. But then you had 6 where they kind of excuse me. The hell was that all about? And then and then with the 7th one, you can tell that they're really pushing, and with obviously losing Paul Walker, I think they're going to team up a little bit more in the new one and really set us up for a brand new adventure with Hobbs. I think it's a really smart move.
Yeah, this is one of Universal's, most important franchises going right now. They will let this thing go forever.
Yeah, right.
And if the fans are into it, then that's great. And for me, we've talked about it a million times before. I love The Rock. And The Rock is, for all the talk that movie fans have about movie stars not existing anymore. Well, I don't know if I necessarily buy that agreement, but if I had to point to a real movie star who was created in the last 5 years, 10 years, it is Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Right.
And so by the way, I love that guy called him DJ. Like, just me and DJ just talking. We were just talking the other day. But yeah, I think that this is great. I think the fans are excited about it. And as I said before, Universal wants this thing to go forever. So the more the merrier, I suppose.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know if it's the fact that the movie star is dead as much as it's the movie star doesn't sell tickets as much, but Dwayne Johnson seems to be. I mean,
and Melissa McCarthy, I feel like, are two who, given their box office track record. The boss
beat out Batman v Superman. Remember?
Number 1 at the box office.
The boss made a ton of money that everyone was laughing about. It's going to be a big flop. It beat Batman v Superman.
Right, so she does. Let's see how Ghostbusters did. But yeah, I guess she has pull. The Rock has pull. But I want to see what The Rock's numbers were in his last couple of movies. But yes, there are certainly an example, and the exception. He seems to be one of them. Before we get to buy or sell, we're going to check in with Wendy on the Wendy Cam. Wendy, what are they saying in the chat room?
Well, for the villain for Wolverine 3 story, the chat is giving out their own choices of villains. Lady Deathstrike, Mr. Sinister, Omega Red. Although not everybody is too hot on this idea, Chris Fryer says, sounds like garbage. And Crimson Gaming says, bring back, is it Liv Schreiber?
Schreiber, yeah.
Thank you. For Sabretooth. And Tyrus says, another fight with Lady Deathstrike sounds amazing. And for the Hobbs spin-off with The Rock, a lot of the chat is not too hot on the idea of a Hobbs spin-off, while some say they definitely watch it. Aaron Kearney says, because what Fast and Furious franchise needs is spin-offs. And Gravian says, yet another franchise for The Rock.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had some interest. Curious that most people weren't on board with that. I think that's the one that I think once trailers come.
Yeah, once you guys see the trailer, you're going to be all over that.
I think so too. Okay, before we move into buy or sell, to let you guys know, you have Warcraft that's coming out right around the corner. Myself, John Campia, and Mark Ellis did a review of Warcraft that's up on the channel right now. Make sure that you bookmark that, check that out. As soon as Movie Talk's over, go and watch that. Now it's time for buy or sell. Natasha's going to read some more stories in the world of movie news, and Clarke, myself, and Mr. Schnepp are going to either buy or sell it. What's first?
Paramount has released a set of all new international posters from their upcoming Star Trek sequel, Star Trek Beyond. The posters feature Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy, played by Carl Urban, along with the alien warrior Jayla, played by Kingsman Sophia Boutella, with a third poster featuring the entire cast. The highly anticipated next installment in the Star Trek franchise returns with director Justin Lin at the helm, in a story about the Enterprise crew exploring the furthest reaches of uncharted space, where they encounter a mysterious new enemy who puts them and everything the Federation stands for to the test. The movie stars Chris Pine, Zoe Saldana, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg, Anton Yelchin, John Cho, and Idris Elba. It opens in theaters on July 22nd. Clarke, buy or sell the new posters from Star Trek Beyond?
I buy them. I do buy them. Now, I think it's important to distinguish that I am not a Trekkie, so I see these movies as summer blockbusters. I mean, obviously, I understand the historical importance. I'm aware of the Star Trek that came before. But for looking at these as just summer blockbusters, I enjoy these movies. And looking at these posters, I think what's clear is that Paramount wants audiences to feel like this installment of this movie is going to be fun. I think fun is what they're pushing. We saw it with that first trailer, which I think was reminiscent of the Guardians of the Galaxy template, trying to sell it. And in terms of hot colors and, you know, something that might be light blockbuster entertainment, I think these posters do a great job of showing that. But also, personally, I just like the designs. I think they look cool, so I buy them.
I am also going to buy them. I saw these posters, and the first thing, when I saw the Carl Urban one, I was like, oh no, it's another face. Like, all these posters nowadays sell their movies with face, but then you pull back, and it's more than that. It's more with the ships, and like you said, Clarke, great color scheme as well, and then you have... I like the second one the best here, the one in the middle with everyone. It kind of gets that Star Trek feel to me. I'm also not the biggest Star Trek fan. However, I did like the last two. I even liked the second one, where Into Darkness, where people didn't really enjoy that one. I liked that one. I liked where the story was going, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it in Movie Talk. I really enjoyed the last trailer. I thought that they did a service by getting rid of the Beastie Boys track, and you really felt what this movie was going to be, and it's exactly what you said, fun. It looks like fun. These posters are fun, so it's a big buy for me.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm a Star Trek fan. This year is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek in general. Really cool to see a Star Trek movie coming out. I like that Simon Pegg is writer on this screenplay. He's a big nerd. I hate these posters. Really? They look like somebody vomited a rainbow. They're garbagey. And let me just say one thing about the middle poster. Kirk on a motorbike. Are you joking?
He was on one in the first one.
It's ridiculous. It's so stupid and annoying. It's Star Trek, and you have a dude on a motorbike. What is the next poster going to be like? You know, Spock in a 1970s car? It's stupid. It's Star Trek.
Oh, that makes me sad that you say things like that.
I hate it.
I don't know you anymore.
Yeah. Well,
I would never fight this fight.
Yeah.
Never.
It's ridiculously dumb. It's Star Trek. Put a chip on there. What's wrong with you?
Well, I like them. All right.
Motorbike.
Oh, how dare you? What's next?
STX Entertainment has released the first trailer for The Space Between Us, starring Asa Butterfield as Gardner Elliott, a boy born on Mars during NASA's first attempt to colonize the Red Planet. Gardner's heart and bone density aren't equipped to handle life on Earth, and that reality becomes a problem when he meets up with an intrepid young girl, Tulsa, played by Britt Robertson, and escapes the team of scientists moderating his health on a mission to find his father back on Earth. Directed by Peter Chelsom, The Space Between Us also stars Gary Oldman and Carla Gugino and arrives in theaters August 19th. Kristian, buy or sell the first trailer for The Space Between Us?
What are they doing?
I buy it. I do buy this trailer. I'll tell you why I buy this trailer, because I was starting to sell it about 30 seconds in. I'm like, oh, come on, another Mars movie that's exactly like what Matt Damon had to do. He had to get back from Mars.
Get him home.
And then they switch it. They switch it. And they show you what. I remember like almost like Powder. What's that movie that they had with Kevin Spacey, the one that he did?
K-Pax.
K-Pax.
Yes.
And but it seemed there was a lot more to it, and I want to see Britt Robinson do something. Tomorrowland, not a big fan. I liked her in Cake for the limited thing. I think she's a really good actress, and I want to see her do more. And I was emotionally attached to this trailer. Yeah. Like, I cared watching Asa Butterfield kind of go through these motions. And Gary Oldman in a role like this, yes, please. That's exactly what I want to see him doing. So I thought it was a powerful trailer, and I wasn't interested when I first heard about it. Started to lose interest, like I said, in the first 20, 30 seconds, and then I started to get attached. So it's a buy for me. Clarke?
Yeah, I was actually just pulling up to confirm. This director directed a movie with Simon Pegg a couple of years ago. I'm trying to find the name of it, but I got the chance to speak with him, and I really like him. I think he's a cool dude, and I think he's a good director. Not all of his movies are perfect, but I think that they have a lot of heart. That was the thing that I took away from that Simon Pegg film, even though it was a bit like Eat, Pray, Love, but with a dude.
Right.
You know, it was heartfelt, it was sincere, and it was different for Simon Pegg. It got a great performance out of Simon Pegg. Right. And I'm with you, Kristian, actually. When I started watching it 30 seconds in, I was kind of like, really? Why are we talking about this? But then once I understood what the story was, I found myself to be really intrigued. And I think it's very clever because honestly, you know, I don't know, you can talk about genre all day, but this feels like science fiction to me. And the idea that, look, maybe in our lifetime, we actually might have to start thinking about things like this. Right. It's a fascinating story, but it also feels very human just from this first trailer. So it's a buy for me for sure.
Yeah, I loved the trailer. I just like you guys, I was like watching it for the first 30, 40 seconds. You're like, this is just like The Martian. Oh, we got to get him home and this and that. Okay, he was born on Mars, but then this feels like it's the same movie. And then all of a sudden it goes into this second gear,
right,
and really kind of draws you in. I was emotionally drawn in to the young kid's plight and him seeing a horse for the first time. All these like kind of fun, emotional moments that they show you in the trailer. They don't give you the entire movie, but they do show you that it's like it is a love story, and it's also a story about hope and the ability to see the world that we have right now and love this world that we have. So there's a lot of really great emotions in this trailer, and it made me want to see the movie. It felt like a really cool love story, but also something with a little bit more heart. So,
all right, what's next?
The first teaser has been released from Morgan, the debut film from commercial director and son of Ridley Scott, Luke Scott. The movie stars Kate Mara as a corporate troubleshooter sent to evaluate a terrifying incident at a remote top-secret lab. The title character of Morgan is played by Anya Taylor-Joy from this year's horror breakout The Witch, a synthetic life form engineered with enhanced strength, exceptional intelligence, and an innate connection with the online world. Morgan doesn't understand the morality of what it means to be human, and since she's evolving at a rapid rate, her first adolescent outburst reveals just how dangerous scientific progress can be. Morgan also stars Toby Jones, Rose Leslie, Boyd Holbrook, Michelle Yeoh, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Paul Giamatti, and is set to hit theaters on September 2nd. Schnepp, buy or sell the first teaser from Morgan?
I buy it. I mean, I was watching this teaser. It's kind of like a trailer. I don't know why they even call it a teaser. Teaser would just be a shot of a long hallway, and you hear that weird breathing. Whatever that sound design was creepy. I remember I was watching it, and Wendy was like, "What's that sound?" She was freaked out from the other room. Schnepp, what are you doing? I was like, "I'm watching a trailer. What is that sound?" She was like, "Weird. It's creeping me out." And she watched the
twitch.
Yeah, she started getting freaked out, but she couldn't stop. But she came over to watch it.
Right.
And she was like, "This is creeping me out," but she couldn't stop watching it. So that's always a good sign. I thought there was elements of it that reminded me of Species, like the actual the cage that they have this artificial human in. Just a lot of set design elements had that fear to it. Also, what was that? Splice.
Splice. That's what
it
I
had
was
the
gonna
flavor
say.
of Splice and Species kind of combined. But you know what? Those combinations work. I think it looks like a good creepy film. So I'm all in. I thought the trailer sold me on it.
I'm going to buy it as well. I thought it was a really creepy trailer. It made me interested. I liked the reason I think that I understood your point as far as not being an actual teaser, because it would just be like a quick hallway shot, but for what it teased me into wanting to know more about the movie.
Yeah.
So by that definition, definitely a good teaser. I thought that remember Daryl? Daryl kind of. It was like creepy Daryl.
It was a creepy
Daryl. It was like creepy Daryl. So I wanted to know more about like her, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So what is it exactly about? And the noise, the way that they teased it. These are the kind of horror/thriller movies that I respond to. The ones that make you think a little bit, and the ones that you want to know more about, and that can really give you that's creeping me out, but in a way that it's not just the cheap jump scares, and there's more to it. There's some intellectual thought behind the writing of it, the shooting of it. So yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board. I can't say that. What's happening today? I was coughing.
You're just shocked that you want to see something scary.
I know.
You can't
Are
believe
you?
it.
I don't know what's happening. Blooper.
I am super, super, super excited for this. I love the way it looks. I love the color schemes, the reds. It's dark. It looks dangerous.
Yeah.
I also, obviously Ridley Scott is not directing it. His son is. However, I love that he's involved. And because, when I think back to something like Alien, for instance, Alien blends science fiction and horror in such a way that it's palatable but scary and smart and suspenseful. And I'm getting echoes of that here. In addition to, I thought of Splice as well. And this cast is so fantastic. I mean, Anna Taylor-Joy, I think, has a really bright career ahead of her. I think she's incredibly talented, but she's also incredibly beautiful. And I think it's really interesting that, as far as maybe I missed it, but we didn't see.
No, they did not show her.
Yes, so that I think is really interesting, because knowing that this actress is absolutely stunning. And yet playing this horrific creature, will she evolve? Will she be under heavy makeup? What will she look like? I mean, I think this is a great. In fact, speaking of teasers versus trailers, I don't want to see that much more.
Yeah, I'm
to
with
be
you.
honest,
But you
with
will.
that. I mean, we will, but hopefully they really play up the mystery. I mean, that's what the hashtag is. I think I noticed at the end of the trailer, who is Morgan? So this is a great setup for hopefully a very innovative, interesting science fiction movie. And by the way, a movie that looks like it has a budget. And I think that that's really, really cool, because, we can point to things like Ex Machina or something like that. Great science fiction ideas from new storytellers. That obviously that director has been writing for a million years, but that was his first feature. So I love the idea of actually seeing something that looks like it's expensive in the science fiction world.
I'm glad you brought up Ex Machina, because it has that, looks like a grittier, dirtier, freakier Ex Machina.
It does. And the other thing too is that it's cool that you have the fact that Ridley Scott's son is, and maybe this is his Alien, to where it's one of those. It's a smaller movie, but it's a movie that will kind of maybe put him on the map the same way kind of Alien did with his dad. So let's hope, because it does look pretty interesting. It's a movie that I'm pretty excited about. All right, what's next?
A new trailer for The Infiltrator has been released, starring Bryan Cranston as U.S. Customs official Robert Mazer. Mazer goes deep undercover to infiltrate Pablo Escobar's drug trafficking scene, plaguing the nation in 1986 by posing as slick money laundering businessman Bob Musella. Teamed with Streetwise fellow agent Amir Abreu, played by John Leguizamo, and a rookie agent posing as his fiancée Kathy Ertz, played by Diane Kruger, Mazer befriends Escobar's top lieutenant, played by Benjamin Bratt, in order to navigate a vicious criminal network in which the slightest slip-up could cost him his life. Runner director Brad Furman directs the film based on a screenplay adapted from Mazer's book from screenwriter Ellen Sue Brown. The Infiltrator opens in theaters on July 13th. Clarke, buy or sell the new trailer for The Infiltrator?
All right, guys, this one is a big sell for me, a huge sell. Yeah, Kristian, shock of shocks. No, here's why. So when I was watching this trailer, I thought to myself, this reminds me a lot of Runner. And then I learned after the fact, oh yeah, it's the same guy who directed it, also based on a true life book, also starring a high profile, really beloved actor like Ben Affleck. And I'm sorry, but this feels just like generic,
Blow?
Basically, it feels like every other drug cartel story I've ever seen a trailer for, or an adaptation. What I will say is, love John Leguizamo, love that he's on screen opposite Cranston. That's amazing and cool. And love Benjamin Bratt, and liked seeing him in kind of a villainous, dangerous role. So there's potential here, I think, maybe, but based on the trailer, the concept across the board, it's a big sell for me.
I like you, but bye. Big bye for me. I thought this trailer looked amazing. I think that I understand your concern because Runner was the garbage. But I will tell you that from what I saw, that maybe this is the guy's redemption into making some good movies here because I really liked what I saw from Cranston. I want to see Cranston as an undercover agent because I know you're going to get those Breaking Bad-like moments from him, like even those faces to where like he has to witness when the guy's like, that was your audition. I was transferred back to Walter White because how many times was Walter White in that situation? So you know Cranston can pull it off. Leguizamo has been knocking it out of the park with his last couple of appearances. He was great in Chef, so I think he's kind of hit a new, even with his comedy when he was in that silly Sisters movie. Was it Sisters? That was Tina Fey and
yeah.
Like, he
little bit moments,
bit moment, but he was great in that. So I really want to see. I'm actually over Benjamin Bratt playing a drug lord in everything.
What's the last? Has he done that a lot?
Yeah,
'Cause
just
I'm
Ride
missing
Along
it.
2 was the last thing,
Oh.
but I feel like he's been a drug lord. Like,
He's typecast
many times. But I want to see him do it in this trailer, in this movie, because this trailer to me, it did remind me of Blow and like a Donnie Brasco. So I haven't seen a good movie like that in a while. It could turn out to be crap, but the trailer did it for me.
Yeah, I 100% buy this. I agree with that last statement. I haven't seen a good kind of like thriller, drug, movie, and this feels like the cinematography. It's really well shot. It's really well cast. I loved every moment of this. I got drawn right in, and it's mainly because of the really good casting. Bryan Cranston is an incredible actor, and just hearing the way he says lines draws you into whatever the storyline is. Pitting him like with John Leguizamo, who's got the natural sense of humor, so his little asides, you could tell that's going to be a fun kind of scary ride through this horrifying drug film. So, I mean, myself, I really got sucked into it, and I cannot wait to see the film.
Okay, back to the Wendy cam. Wendy, what were they saying in the chat room about All Our Buy or Sells?
Well, let's go all the way back to the poster for Star Trek. A lot of the chat is buying this, and some do agree with you, Schnepp, about the motorcycle. Julia Santalucia says, love the color scheme on the full cast poster. And T-Ro says, how does Bones get his own poster, but the captain has to share?
That's a good question.
Because he's Bones.
For the space between us, the chat is calling you guys the space rats now.
Nice.
And a lot of them are selling the trailer. John Smith says, Bray Robertson is actually perfect. And CRW says, hope this doesn't end up being another huge misuse of Gary Oldman's abilities. The teaser for Morgan, a lot of the chat is doing a soft buy for this. And a lot of the chat agree with you guys. This is kind of like Splice. And Big B Wolf says, Morgan looks interesting. And Cut to Black says, I sell this Ex Machina wannabe. Finally, for the trailer for Infiltrator, I saw a lot of buys, mostly because of Bryan Cranston. And Brian Lefebvre says, I think John Leguizamo will crush it in this picture. And Hellsinger says, I want to see Cranston in a different role than a Walter White variation.
Yep. All right. Fair enough. So thank you guys for doing that. Thank you, Wendy. Now it's time for opening this week, brought to you by our friends over at AMC Theater. Natasha, what is opening this week?
XMen Apocalypse. Worshipped as a god since the dawn of civilization, the immortal Apocalypse, played by Oscar Isaac, becomes the first and most powerful mutant. Awakening after thousands of years, he recruits the disheartened Magneto, played by Michael Fassbender, and other mutants to create a new world order. As the fate of the Earth hangs in the balance, Professor X, played by James McAvoy, and Raven, played by Jennifer Lawrence, lead a team of young X-Men to stop their seemingly invincible nemesis from destroying mankind.
All right, so first off, know that there is the X-Men Apocalypse review that I believe Schnepp, Campia, Dennis, and Mark did. That's on the channel now, but we also did a spoiler-heavy review because I finally got to see the movie, and that will come out on Friday.
Well, actually, me and Mark did it on your Schmoes channel, and Dennis and John.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all separate.
Oh, it's all separate.
We all
Okay.
did. We all did.
We all talked about it one way or another, and so myself, Schnepp, Campia, and Ellis talked about the spoilers, and that will be tomorrow, so make sure you check that out. I will tell you that I heard some mixed things about this movie, and I wound up really liking it. Does it have some problems? Yes, it does. It has a lot of problems, but I absolutely thought, even though it's inferior than both First Class and Days of Future Past. I got a cool ride out of this one. I thought Apocalypse was a great villain. Did Jennifer Lawrence mail it in a little bit? Yeah, I think she did, but I still think that she was still enjoyable enough in the role. So this particular movie, I think if you're a fan of the X-Men franchise, it's a must-see to continue because there's going to be more stories to tell. So I think that's something. If you are one of these people that maybe should I have chosen Civil War? Do I want to see Apocalypse? You're choosing your money or whatever you want. Maybe there's other movies you want to see. I don't know if you're going to enjoy this one. Maybe if you're not a big fan of the X-Men franchise and you just want to pick a big budget movie to see this weekend, I don't know if it's the one for you. Schnepp, how do you feel?
Well, I mean, I really enjoyed the X-Men Apocalypse film up until the last 30 minutes or so, where I feel it kind of falls apart and kind of undoes a lot of the goodwill that it had from the first hour. It's just like, So would I recommend you seeing it? Highly recommend seeing this X-Men film, if only for the new cast that they bring in: Sophie Turner, Ty Sheridan as Cyclops, and Jean Grey. I like the brand new cast, the new blood that they bring in. They don't have a lot of scenes together. They're not in the movie enough for my taste. I would have loved to have seen them be in the film more. I think every single one of the other cast members, like Professor X, and Magneto, you have Fassbender and McAvoy. They continue their strong streak as these characters. Every time they're on screen, the movie works. Sometimes when they're not, I think Oscar Isaac is an incredible actor. I thought the beginning, or at least the way they set up Apocalypse, really works, but then the rest of the movie, he doesn't really have a reason to be there.
He could have had more to do. I agree with you there.
So, I mean, would I highly recommend it? Yes, you should see it this weekend. I think you'll enjoy it. Be prepared. It's not as good as Days of Future Past, and they bungle the ending, but even with that, it's still an enjoyable film.
Clarke, have you seen the movie
No.
yet? Are you looking forward to it?
Not really.
Okay, are you an X-Men fan?
Not really.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
like Matt Vaughn's. I love First Class. I love that a lot, and I really enjoyed Days of Future Past, like for sure. But this does not really speak to me, so I'm not particularly interested.
Fair enough. I mean, that's kind of my point, is that I don't know if it's going to take someone like Clarke, who wasn't really interested, if she went and saw it. Like, if Days of Future Past, if you weren't excited about it and then you saw it, you could go, that's just a great movie. Just being a fan of movies in general, but I think that the non-X-Men / superhero fans that go in to see this aren't going to be sold. Natasha, are you interested at all in seeing X-Men, and are you an X-Men fan?
No, I've never really been into X-Men, so yeah, this one's kind of flying under the radar for me.
Well, and also for me, like with First Class, I came to, I don't remember how I saw it, but I love Matt Vaughn. I've talked about that a lot, so I'll see kind of anything that he does. With Days of Future Past, I got to go to a screening. I don't remember if it was a fan screening or what it was, but I had no expectations. In fact, I hadn't even really seen a trailer for Days of Future Past. And so going in completely blind, I thought the movie was fantastic. I loved it. But in terms of, actual excitement for this upcoming one, not so much.
All right, now in terms of excitement, this weekend, Friday that is, big schmodown matchup going down. You've got Wolfe going up against Finstock. How Finstock got here, we don't know, but he's here. And
Hey, I know how he got here.
I know.
Pure blind luck. Listen, Jim Sock, you might have got lucky with me, but you're not getting past the Wolf.
Well,
Forget it.
that's the thing. If Finstock beats Wolfe tomorrow, he's going to eventually get a shot at the title, which is nuts. And Clarke, you are the gatekeeper. And the thing is, and we're going to talk about two things here. Obviously, first, your matchup with Finstock tomorrow. You are someone who just kind of came out in this league because no one knew you were coming, and now you're like one of the most talked about competitors. And now you're going up against Finstock. Are you going to blow through this guy?
Look, I think that people underestimate Finstock. Now, yes, he got very lucky when he played the wealth of knowledge, like Mr. John Schnepp over here, when he was victorious. However, I've seen Finstock answer questions where I'm just like, how does he know that? And he may be a goofball, but I take him very seriously. So, look, I had admittedly a really good first round against Josh, and I was happy about that. And I love this game, and I want to keep playing. But look, I'm nervous going into this. So
yeah, I mean, look, Finstock is a guy. He's been to the team finals. There's a lot that he has done in this league, so it's very interesting. And Mark and myself put up a top 10 list. If you want to go to the rankings rankings and check out how that works, go over to the Schmoes channel and you can find that out. And what we also announced, there's two things. So for those of you who just are kind of getting familiar with the Schmoedown, we're doing a singles tournament, which will be on the Schmoes channel, and team competition will rev up starting in August. Here's some big drama happening on the Schmoes show tonight. So Clarke Wolfe was asked by JTE, Finstock's former partner, to be his partner going up in this league. And I can also announce that John Schnepp and Mr. Robert Burnett are going to be team heroes going into the Collider teams. The team matchup. So, Clarke, your decision happens tonight.
Oh, man.
Can we get anything out of you right now? Are you anything that can you tell us? Are you going to join with JT or are you saving it?
You know, I'm gonna, like JT said in last week's show, I'm gonna plead the fifth.
All right, so we're going to find out. If you want to find out if Clarke's going to join up with JTE, watch the Schmoes show tonight. So make sure you check out the match tomorrow. Watch Clarke's decision tonight on the Schmoes. A lot of stuff going down. I've had the most interest about this match than in a very long time.
This is like a torrid love affair. This is like Sally Jesse Ruff, Maury cheating scandals. This is crazy.
It's going to be awesome. All right, now it is time for mailbag. You guys have submitted your questions. We have gone through them, and now we're going to answer them. Natasha, what's up first?
Okay, Todd Kleinheinz writes, "Hey guys, have you ever gone back to watch old trailers like E.T., Back to the Future, Trading Places, and specifically A New Hope? Is it just nostalgia, or were the trailers back then even more teaser-ish? Or is it simply that there is no such thing as a movie today having one trailer? It has a teaser, a trailer, a few TV spots, international trailers, etc. Therefore, we get a lot more of the story. Those old trailers with movie voice guy were awesome and terrible at the same time. What do you think is the next evolution of a trailer?"
This summer, Tom Selleck plays a basketball coach in Need for a Slurpee.
They're ridiculous.
In a world filled with termites, who's going to be the exterminator? The wood chipper. Starring Pauly Shore.
The trailers are awful, and that's why when they had that, they're fun to watch. But like when you go back, that Tom Hanks movie that came out that just flew under the radar. What the hell was that thing called?
Something about I know
it's
exactly what
horrible.
you're talking about. Where he went to like Dubai.
Yeah, and they used the movie voice guy
that
for
was
it.
weird.
It was really bad, and so. The next evolution, I kind of like what the trailer has become today. It's mini movies. It's what sells you. Yeah. They're in the mini movies. I don't want to see too much evolution on this because I think we get what we want because you get that feel of being in there. I mean, the evolution I think has been something like we talked about yesterday with Independence Day, showing those 4 or 5 minutes. Sometimes that gives away too much.
Right.
But I think that the evolution has worked. It is fun to watch the nostalgic trailers. But I mean, I wish that, I like when the fans recut trailers. Like, if you go back, there's been so many, like Return of the Jedi as if shot today, that work better than the ones. 1980, it's Return of the Jedi. It's cheesy, but they're still fun. What do you think the evolution is?
I disagree. I don't like the evolution as much. Now, I'm not saying we need to go back to movie voice guy, but I feel like the trailers now give everything away. And this is really frustrating. It's part of the reason, like a couple of minutes ago when I said I didn't watch a trailer for Days of Future Past, that's on purpose. I'll watch the first trailer. Usually I'll watch a teaser and the first full-length trailer. After that, I'm done. Because I have been burned way too many times. I have a quick story about this. So Paranormal Activity, the first one, I had heard about this movie and I was away for work for like 6 weeks, so I wasn't able to get to the theater. By the time I came back to LA, Paranormal Activity had become a phenomenon. It was October, and they cut a new trailer. And I saw the new trailer before I was able to see the movie, and spoiler alert. So I mean, this movie is 10 years old, so come on.
Whatever.
But
you should have seen it. But,
that final shot in the trailer they added of Mika's body flying towards the camera. And so I'm sitting there in the theater and I'm terrified. And it's the end of the movie. And I'm like, this movie was working for me, y'all. I had seen it alone. I went by myself because I'm a nerd. And I was sitting there and it's all this stuff is happening. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, where is that shot that was in the trailer? It's the last shot of the whole freaking movie. And it really did a disservice, because I have to say, for me as an audience member, that would have been one of the top 5 scariest moments because the movie was working for me so much. So, long-winded way of saying, I do not like that they give everything away.
In a world where the trailer ruins the fucking movie.
It's like, yeah, knock it off. I've had this problem for the last few years, like everything from The Martian, where they just show you the entire film, and like, yeah, we saved the last 10 minutes for you. Yay, thanks. I think, to be honest with you, I'm with both of you. I think the way they used to cut trailers is mainly because they didn't have digital technology. So they were actually cutting with film. There wasn't like the ratio of shots. It used to be 7-second shots. Now it's like 2-second shots. Like before you see an edit, it's like there's a 2-second, 2.5 second, and then it always cuts to something else, because that's just how our, they think that we're from the MTV generation, all this, like everything's faster and cuttier. So with the trailers, what used to be maybe 30 shots in a 1-minute trailer is now 200 shots in a 1-minute trailer. So hey, we have to cut away to more footage, show more stuff. I think I would use Men in Black, the very first one, as a good example of showing you the ending of the movie in the trailer, where they show that giant UFO landing and those guys are standing there, and that worked. Even though I was angry as a younger me, I was like, what the hell are they showing that? I could tell that that's the end of the movie. That's the money shot. That's the big ending. But because that movie was such a big hit, then the money people were like, well, no, we got to show them the big stuff. We got to show them the ending. We got to show them that it's worth, the money to spend to go see this film. So I think that's the problem that we have nowadays. Everything's too fast cut, and they're trying to cram. Like, they've basically shown us all of Independence Day in a 5-minute chunk. They're like, if you like to see destruction and aliens, you're going to see this movie. And some funny quips from Jeff Goldblum. Well, I still want to see the movie, so I can't say that marketing didn't work. But what I am saying is, I think I've always liked when they show you something that you don't really, not showing clips that aren't in the film, like excised cutscenes, like they
Predator.
did with XMen Apocalypse. They show Nightcrawler get brain freeze. That's not in the movie. That's annoying to see that in the commercial.
Or Predators with Adrian Brody and
like
all the
800,
things and the scopes on
800
him, and
lasers,
it's not
and
in the, and you're like, what?
No, it's only one Predator, and I'm injured. It's like, hey, so
A broken Predator.
Yeah, I think there's a cool way to fix it with where you can actually shoot a little bit of something as a something to be a teaser, but not to get you into the mood of the film without showing you every single beat of the film. Like, let's go through the entire story. Unfortunately, that's what most trailers do. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah. Do I want to return to the in a world of? No, but I'd like something different.
Well, something that we covered on Collider News today was X-Men's deleted scenes and how some of them were still in the trailers but not in the movie. So what are your guys' take on that?
I hate it. But I love those scenes. So I'm sort of like, I know Bryan Singer cut those mall scenes because he said it didn't fit with the feeling of the rest of the movie. And when you see the movie, you'll say, yeah, I definitely agree it doesn't fit, but man, I wish they were in the movie because it gave you a little bit more of those new characters that let you see them have fun in the 80s. So I wish they didn't cut it, and that they're showing it in the trailers bums me out even more. So I know that they're going to double dip everybody and eventually like the extended version with all of the 80s flavor, whatever. They got my money. Thank you. So,
all right, what's next?
Okay, Sam Green writes, "Hi Collider team, love the show and all the great work you guys put into it. Lately, I've noticed that there's been a gap for big epic romantic dramas that used to dominate the film industry. Movies like Casablanca, Gone with the Wind, Out of Africa were big hits, so why don't they make romance movies of that scale anymore? The most recent one I could think of right now is Atonement with James McAvoy and Keira Knightley, and that was released all the way back in 2007. Thanks for choosing my question and keep up the great work."
That's why. They're not making money right now, and so they still make them. There's tons of them. Even that Me Before You is coming out. No one's going to see that movie.
Oh, I am.
I think a lot of people are going to see it.
How many people? How much money do you think that movie's going to make?
I don't know what it's
opening
up
weekend.
Against.
And even if it covers its budget, I'm talking about not enough to really make it seem like it's a huge hit. As far as making a profit, if it costs like $10 million and it makes.
I disagree. I think I think Me Before You is going to be the new Notebook.
Same. I felt that way since I first saw the trailer.
I'm listening to you ladies. You both think that this is the new Notebook?
As somebody who's never seen the Notebook, which
really?
No, I'm not. I don't like romance movies. I don't like romance movies.
So you think this
I like
is,
horror movies, damn it.
So you think people are going to talk about this?
I do. People
All right.
people have read this book. People
Yeah.
love this book. The early reactions that I've heard, it's just people
Yeah.
are so
Wendy and I
devastated.
already have a movie date set
Yeah.
to go watch it.
I mean, but to answer the actual question about Gone with the Wind or big sweeping romances
Right.
that take you to exotic locations around the world.
51st dates.
Exactly, where Adam Sandler wants to go take a vacation.
Right.
That was the working title. But
Right.
no, I think that the reason is because the spectacle of cinema that it could bring to you in the 30s and the 40s, that's not why people go to the movies to see a different kind of spectacle. You know, when you can hop on your computer and someone is live streaming or periscoping from a safari, I mean, it's just not as magical or as special anymore, unfortunately. That's my theory anyway.
Well, I think they still exist. They've just, like you said, they've transformed over time. We still have romantic love stories where they're told, like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Sure.
That came out the same year as The Notebook, and both of those are romantic love stories. One is more mentally crushing and horrifying, but also, I think, a little more truer as far as relationships than the other might be. But I would use Silver Linings Playbook, which was 2012, as a great romantic film. The film about romance. It didn't have big budgets.
Right,
It
it's
wasn't
not that big. There are no sweeping.
No, I don't
dramas
think those
anymore,
sweeping films exist really in that arena anymore because they're being told on a much more human level.
Yeah, also remember that even when Gone with the Wind, that was like the substitution for like the theater too.
Yes.
So that was like,
sure.
and that was like that was the Avengers of the time. That was that size. That's what Gone with the Wind was. They're not treated like that. They're more, the budgets now for those movies are 10, 15. They happen off of Fault in Our Stars. I mean, those movies happen all the time. Me, Earl and the Dying Girl. I mean, there's movies that are romantic, that are sad, but they still have like it's there. You don't have the You Got Mails as much anymore in
Right,
Seattle.
rom-coms.
Yeah, because you don't have those. I guess the top stars, like when you had a Tom Hanks and a Meg Ryan doing those movies, it added to it. Then you had the Sandra Bullock and Julia Roberts. That age has kind of turned a little bit. What I will say to defend myself real quick, on Mr. Alan Law says, well, Harloff's been wrong about box office recently. 5 for 5 last week, and if you ever watched movie Threesome, I won about 20 weeks in a row. So sorry, Alan. I'm telling you, this movie's not going to be that big of a
We'll find
Dr.
out.
Collider says,
Dr. Collider says,
like movies like Out of Africa, which was like sweeping kind of love story with big stars. I remember that, like, at least for myself, that felt like it was a turning point where those big movies where we're in another country and love
Right.
still continues. People are like, eh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just.
I mean,
it
The
just
English
became-
Patient.
English Patient is
It's
a
a
great
different
example.
time, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the English Patient is not like it's a big movie. And it's filled with like horror and longing and like it's sad too. I mean, that's a great example. That's like I think
But that's-
1996.
Yeah, it's 20 years old. So, I mean, you're right. It's a different
It's
landscape.
just a different time, yeah. Okay. Now it's time to take live Twitter questions. You guys have been submitting them. Natasha's been going through them, and we're going to talk about them.
Okay, Jonathan Peck asks, which director do you want to regain their mojo back?
Oh, man. Which director?
Paul Verhoeven, where are you hiding?
No, yeah,
Right?
seriously.
Didn't he just have a movie at Cannes?
He did, and he
people-
self-financed it himself. I think it's
Yeah.
like She Likes It. Or I can't. It's got
I
a
thought it
weird
got
title.
great
It got great
reviews.
reviews. It just
Yeah.
hasn't come over here yet.
Yeah.
Now, hear me out before you start yelling at me here. I'm going to say Steven Spielberg. And I'm not talking about the Lincolns of the world and the dramas, and even the last one, Bridge of Spies, because I didn't love that one, but a lot of people did. His dramas he's on par with his dramas. What was the last big, huge kind of sci-fi fun Steven Spielberg movie we've had?
Minority Report.
That's what,
AI.
10, 15 years ago. We haven't had, that's what I'm hoping for with whether it's BFG or whether we get Ready Player One. That's who I want to see come back to form in that aspect.
I see that you've forgotten Crystal Skull.
Exactly.
That doesn't count. Yeah.
I mean, but
even if you're
We've all
part of-
forgotten Crystal Skull.
well, but you can't forget.
No,
I
but
can
even if
forget
you're
it.
part of that 80, strange enough, like 75, 80% of critics who actually like that movie, okay? I'm not, but if you're part of that, even that movie is almost 10 years old.
I don't think critics liked it. I think they liked I think they were being nice to Steven Spielberg and Indiana Jones and George Lucas.
It's a horrible movie.
It's
really bad.
abysmal.
It's really bad.
Can't think of an answer for this. Who's in director jail that I would want to
Director
break out? I don't know the answer. I'll have to think about it.
All right. You know who? John McTiernan. somebody I like to see come.
He's out of jail now,
Yeah,
for
he's out
sure.
of jail.
So he's out
I'm
of director's
serious,
jail.
John.
Yeah.
He is. He's out of jail. He's out of director's jail, and he's out
Yeah.
of real jail. So I would love to see him get John McTiernan and do the next Die Hard movie if you can get Bruce Willis out of whatever jail in his head he's in. All right, what's next?
The Dutch movie guy asks, what do you think about the rumors for 7 more Power Ranger movies?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
What do you think about the rumors for 7 more Power Ranger movies?
So there's rumors about 7 more?
7 more.
Why don't
For
they just get the
shared
first one
universe?
done?
If the first
Probably.
one crushes
Yeah.
and the first one, if people wind up really digging that movie and they can really get 7 stories out of it, I mean, this isn't Harry Potter though. Harry Potter, where
This
there's
is
7
Saban.
books.
This is Saban, where they could crank out 7 movies in 1 month. So, you know,
Right.
if the first movie makes money, you better be sure there's going to be 7 more.
Yeah,
Josh Trank should get out of director's jail. Give that guy another chance.
And you know who I think should be out of
Shyamalan.
director's
I like that we
jail?
went back to this.
Who's also
Dang, we don't want to talk about stupid Power
I
Rangers.
guess that means no one wants
Yeah,
7
who
more
cares?
Power Rangers.
Make 30 more
Yeah.
Power Rangers.
this
Doesn't
is
matter.
one that takes a minute.
But let
though.
Shyamalan direct them all.
Yeah, let him have a chance.
Actually, I wouldn't be. Well, okay, he's kind of out of director's
Shyamalan?
jail because of the gift.
The Visit,
or
you
not
mean?
the visit.
The Visit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
He's doing Wayward Pines. He's got
Yeah,
some
yeah,
flavor
yeah.
there.
But okay, so I still believe we spoke of him earlier in Neil Blomkamp. I still believe in him.
Sure.
I think that District 9 was way too good to be a fluke.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree.
I do think, though, speaking of Shyamalan, who I do really like and defend a lot of his movies, a lot of them.
But not Lady in the Water.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Not happening.
Oh, no, not
Not
either of
Airbender.
those.
No, I'm sorry. We're going to name like 7 movies. So, you know, we
I
get
stop
it.
at the
Yeah.
visit.
Yeah.
I actually like not the visit, the Village. I still like the Village. I'll defend the Village. But my point is with Blomkamp, I think, someone give him a script to direct. Meaning, I don't want him to be writing his
Yeah.
own things. I want him to be paired with a really savvy, smart screenwriter with great ideas, and I want to see that movie because
Yeah.
I think he's got real talent.
I think that's what they're going to try to do with Alien.
Alien,
So
I hope
let's
so.
see. I mean, because I agree with you. I think that I love District 9, and
Yeah.
then I started to go and I've said this many times. District 9 to me was a mixture of message and movie.
Totally.
Perfect. 50-50. Elysium started to get about 60-40
Right.
message first, and then Chappie was just. Who knows what
Chappie's
the hell
just a
that-
giant
Who knows what the hell that
mess.
thing was?
Mess,
So,
yeah.
so
Chappie!
Yes. So I agree with you. Blomkamp is a great example.
Super talented.
All right. What's next?
Sorry, we did
Oh.
try. We did.
Wait, let's keep talking about Power Rangers.
Guys, I really want to know about Power Rangers.
Make 7 of them.
Okay, Paul Pugudin asks, question for the Oracle Schnepp. Is XMen Apocalypse going to open bigger than Deadpool?
No, but I do think it's going to get close to 100 million. A lot of people are saying it's going to be like 80 million. But, I could be wrong. Whatever.
Yeah.
What,
All right.
do you guys have any estimates?
I don't.
it's gonna
What
open?
was Deadpool's
I see-
opening weekend?
Maybe like 100, almost 130. or
No,
something.
Yeah,
no
no,
way.
not
Yeah,
gonna
it's
do it.
not
Not in
gonna
a
get
1,000
close.
years.
I'm saying around 87 to 90 is what.
Yeah, I just think it's going to get closer to
Well,
100.
it is a holiday weekend too. So
Yeah, but I'm talking
it-
about 3-day for the 3-day.
I don't think it's going to get that high. It's like Price is Right. I'm bidding $1, but I think I think it's going to be less than 80.
Well, me before you. How much will that mean?
It will beat X-Men Apocalypse. I don't know. I honestly, because I don't know what else is opening that
Right.
weekend, but don't underestimate that movie going audience.
Right.
That Notebook, Rachel McAdams. I love Rachel McAdams, but that world, don't underestimate them. I think people are excited for this one.
All right. What's next?
Okay, Gabriel Bailey asks, can you explain the difference between a reboot, remake, or a continuation of a story?
This is a good
Interchangeable?
question.
Reboot. You want to take a shot at it?
Yeah, because I saw this really great panel at WonderCon 2 years ago called Reboots, Requels, and we're inventing these words.
right.
But I think a requel is like it lives in the same universe. It's technically a sequel, but we're taking a lot of the elements from the first
Right.
franchise or movie, and we're adding those. We're playing with those. A reboot is like Fantastic Four. Forget those last 2 Fantastic Four movies that ever happened. And then what's the other one? Is
Pre-boot. No, I don't know.
a
I'm gonna start making
prequel.
them
So
up
obviously
now.
we know what a
Right.
prequel is.
Right.
Right.
It still plays on the things that you know and love from the first
Connects
movie.
into the canon.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but it came before.
Like
Right.
The Thing, it was The Thing, which was a prequel
Yep.
to The Thing.
To The
They
Thing.
should
I
just
know,
change
that
the
was-
title.
that
Kinda
was
weird.
a weird
but,
title.
yeah.
Yes, I still have never seen a thing.
You haven't seen The
A
Thing?
Thing?
A thing.
And not even one of them.
Anything.
Really?
I've
I
never
think
seen it.
that should
There's 3 of
be-
them now.
Never saw the old school
Right,
one.
there's
Never
3.
saw the Carpenter one, and never saw the remake.
I think we should watch the Carpenter one because it's. I
I
think
have
you-
the Carpenter. Your future teammate gave it to me.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah. So there you go. That's it for that. Let's take one more. We'll do one more.
Okay. FN0702 asks, how would you react if it was announced that Shia LaBeouf would be in Indiana Jones 5?
No, thank you.
I have thoughts on this.
Okay, I say no, thank you. And
What was his name? Muff?
Mutt.
Right?
Mutt.
Right.
Mutt.
That's a totally different movie.
Right.
I saw Shia LaBeouf cast in that John McEnroe thing.
Yeah, I think it's great.
And I think it's amazing.
Perfect.
You and I talked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
how he is a really, I'll use the word, great actor. No thank you on Indiana Jones for a lot of different reasons. Mutt didn't work, and he basically said F you to Steven Spielberg.
He
after that
opened
movie.
his big mouth.
Yeah.
Where I think this was before he was put the bag over his head. He should have just
Maybe
claimed
that's why he did
insanity
it.
and wore a bag over his head. But yeah, he like kind of mouthed off about, who cares about the movie and I didn't want to be in it, blah blah blah. So it's like sometimes the human being and not the actor portrayal that they're in is dumber than the the performance. It's like, hey, you were great in that movie, and then you meet the real person. They're a piece of you know what I mean. They're not a nice person. It's like I don't think that's the same with Shia. He's a weirdo. He's got issues. I think he's a good actor though. Do I want to hang out with him? Hell no. But I'll watch him on YouTube wearing a bag and doing some dumb shit. I'll watch that. But I hated Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and he's one of the reasons it didn't work. He just doesn't fit into that universe.
I think Shia LaBeouf could have been a Chris Pratt type guy, right? He could have been leading blockbusters and doing small independent things. He could have done it. He doesn't want it, and I think that's for instance, I like Eagle Eye a lot. I think Disturbia is kind of cool. I like him in actually all of the Transformers movies that he's in. I like him in them. And I didn't, of the problems I had with Crystal Skull, Mutt was not in the top 5.
Swinging with the monkeys.
With
No?
the monkeys all had the greaser haircut?
Because
What's going
that was
on?
it.
Guilty by
And
association.
I love exactly what I was about to say. I
Yeah.
love how that's Shia LaBeouf's fault that
It's
Steven
his fault.
Spielberg made him
Yep.
swing
I
through the
totally
monkeys.
blame Shia.
So,
and
anyway,
Spielberg.
the
No,
point-
in fact, he actually suggested it to write. He wrote that whole
Oh,
scene.
yeah? He did?
He's
I
like, and the
Yeah.
monkeys have to
I
have
don't
my
think
hair.
that's true.
Yeah.
But the point I'm
Totally
making
did.
is that if Shia LaBeouf wanted to be a movie star, I would have liked to have seen him continue in the Indiana Jones role. But not saying playing Indiana Jones, but in that franchise, I would have liked to have seen that. However, now it's too late, and also he doesn't want it. So if he doesn't want to be there, let's get somebody who
Right.
wants to be there.
Right. Mutt will be a reboot.
If
All
they,
right.
And also like Johnny No Countryman or Johnny, what was that one?
like that one.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I
film.
like that
It's
movie.
it's a small film. Him and Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
It's
about.
really
Charlie,
well done.
No,
He did a great.
Charlie No. What the hell was it?
Charlie Englishman.
Countryman something. What was it called?
I don't know.
Thank
What's
you
it
guys.
called?
Okay,
Are we
we'll
looking
figure it
up for
out.
us?
Countryman
Anyway, Johnny Biscuit Man.
That's it.
Yeah, we're done.
That's it. That's the show. I want to thank everyone here today. First of all, Mr. Schnepp, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram, just at John Schnepp. You can find my film, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. Go to TDOSLWH.com and check out our new show, Film HQ, on Comic-Con HQ. You can subscribe to that. See you later. See you on Heroes next week. Bye. That's all I can plug.
And the lady with a big decision today, Clarke Wolfe, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on the Schmoes No Show tonight. And then you can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope at Clarke Wolfe. Clarke with an E, Wolfe with an E, and Facebook.com/official Clarke Wolfe.
Natasha Martinez, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at NatashaAlexis_ and Facebook.com/NatashaAlexisMartinez.
Nice spin.
Yeah.
For me, I will be at Kristian Harloff, Twitter and Instagram, as well as Jedi Council today. And like Clarke said, tonight, Schmoes Show on the Schmoes No channel, 7 to 9. You want to see what this lady is going to say? Go on over there and check it out. And make sure you also check her out as she goes up against the diabolical Finstock tomorrow on the Schmodown. Make sure you check out the Warcraft review. Check out our Apocalypse spoiler review tomorrow. Lots of cool stuff happening on the Collider channel. Do it, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.